Climbing up the mountain, gonna find an answer. I am climbing up the mountain, gonna find an answer.
Thank you all so very much. I'm so glad I have this opportunity because there's no better time in this world to recognize how you've been disempowered. And I want you to understand what I'm talking about, and that is this that I mentioned up there. The movie The Matrix is not science fiction, it's a documentary for this reason. Every human gets programmed in the first 7 years of their lives. And the reason is very simple. Imagine I go to the Apple store, I buy a new iPod, and I come out, you know, in the front of the iPod is called the touch screen where you can create. And I say, okay, I bought a brand new iPod, I come out of the store, and I open it up and I push play, and nothing happens. And I'm a little upset for the old guy just spending all the money, and some little 7-year-old kid comes up to me and says, you can't play anything until you download something. And the whole idea is this. A child is born but not conscious until around age 7. Consciousness is a higher vibration in the brain called alpha. The first 7 years of a child's life, the child is in theta. Theta is below consciousness, and it's associated with imagination. So a child in the first 7 years is really just involved with being in theta, imagination. So I mean, what does that look like? And I say, a child's riding a broom, and the mother says, give me the broom, and the child is saying, no, it's a horse. What's the point? In theta, imagination becomes real. So a child's first 7 years is mixing real life and imagination. But that's not the point. The point is theta is hypnosis. I said, well, why is it relevant? And the answer is this. Before a child can be conscious, like using the touch screen on the iPod, if you have no data, you can't be conscious of anything. So if a child was just coming out of the birth canal and could speak, just imagine a child could speak, it's coming out of the birth canal, and we say, hey, welcome, tell us something. And that child will look up and go, I don't know anything, I just got here. And the point about it is this. Nature created the first 7 years to download programs. I say, well, what do you mean? I say, to be a functional member of a family and a community, how many rules? Just think of how many rules a child must learn to be a functional member of a family and a community. I mean, just think about it this way. The way the dad talks to his own kid is not the way the dad talks to the neighbor's kid. It's not the way the dad talks to his wife. It's not the way the dad talks to the neighbor's wife. It's not the way the dad talks to the policeman. What you're seeing here is that we have to learn a lot of modalities to incorporate ourselves in the world. I said, well, how is an infant going to learn this stuff? You're going to give a kid a book and say, listen, I want you to study this so you can be a member of the family and the community. That's simply reality. It's no way. So how does it happen? Nature creates the first 7 years of theta brain processing. Theta is download. It's not in consciousness. It bypasses consciousness and goes into subconscious. So the first 7 years is to create a database. When the child reaches 7 and becomes conscious, that's when they can operate from the database program, okay? Now here's the problem. 70% or more of the downloads that all of us get are disempowering, self-sabotaging, and limiting beliefs. And I go, why is this relevant? And the answer is because my research, which was on understanding how genes work, revealed that everything you learned in school about genes is wrong. Genes are not self-actualizing. Genes do not turn on and off. Genes are controlled by consciousness. And why is this relevant? Because we are creating the consciousness that's adjusting our genetics. When we change our consciousness, we change our genetics. Now, you probably think, well, you mean the mind is controlling all this? I go, of course. You've heard of the placebo effect. What is the placebo effect? A belief that this pill or this surgery is going to heal you. And then you take the pill, you get the surgery, you get better, and you go, wow, you see, I knew it. And then you find out the pill was a sugar pill. You find out the surgery was a sham. Then I leave you with a question. Then what the heck healed you? And the answer was your belief that you were going to get healed. And everybody goes, yeah, that's a placebo effect. I go, yeah, that's great. But here's the point that I need you to understand. What about negative thinking? What about negative thinking? We are talking positive thinking, placebo effect, and it can change your entire life. What about negative thinking? Here's why it's important. Negative thinking is equally powerful as positive thinking, but it works in the opposite direction. Well, we talk about placebo as the result of bringing health by having a thought, placebo, a positive thought. Science refers to the negative thought as nocebo. A nocebo can cause every disease and can actually kill you. You can cause a disease just because you believe in it. You get a false diagnosis that you have cancer and you believe it, the consciousness will manifest cancer. Why? Consciousness controls the genes. I go, okay, wait. So we got programs when we came in. I said, yeah, you got downloaded programs to get off the ground. And then at 7, you start to use consciousness. And conscious is creative, subconscious is habit. That's what habit's all about, subconscious. I go, why is it relevant? Because the subconscious, a lot of people said that's where all the evil stuff is. No. The subconscious is a fabulous piece of machinery. Why? Think about it this way. When did you learn how to walk? When did you learn how to walk? Before 2? Are you still walking? Well, thank goodness you got a subconscious, because that's where the programs are that we learn to live. Can I get a quick one?
Yes. Why do placebo pills not work on animals?
Why do placebo pills do not work on animals? Because maybe you can't get them to think right. It's the thinking that caused the healing, not the pill. So it's the animal at that point. But now let me go back to this, and here's why it's relevant. The subconscious mind is habit. The conscious mind is creative. When you're operating from the conscious mind, you are going to manifest wishes and desires. That's what conscious mind's all about. And I go, well, wait a minute. Then how come if we're creating our lives, everything looks like it sucks out here? And the answer is this. Fact of science. You only are using your conscious mind 5% of the day. Stop for a second and say, what does that mean? You're only creating wishes and desires 5% of the day. 95% of your life is coming from the program. You say, well, why should so much of my life come from the program? And the answer is simply this. When you are thinking, you're not paying attention. When the conscious mind's not paying attention, the subconscious kicks in and takes over as autopilot. And I said, well, how much of the time are we thinking? And the answer is 95% of the day we are in thought. And I go, so what's the relevance of that? And the relevance is simply this. 95% of the day you think you're controlling your life, 95% of the day your life is being controlled by subconscious behavior. And I say, yeah, but most of that's negative and disempowering. You say, well, I should be able to see if I'm sabotaging myself. I go, no, you won't. And here's the answer why. It's the same story I've said for 20 years. Here's the story. You had a friend, you knew a friend when you were growing up, you knew your friend's behavior very, very well, and you happen to know your friend's parent. And one day you see your friend has the exact same behavior as their parent. So you can't wait to tell your friend. You go, hey, Bill, you're just like your dad. And then you back away from Bill. Bill's the first person to say, how can you compare me to my dad? I'm nothing like my dad. Almost everybody's familiar with this. And I say, this is the most profound story for this reason. Everybody else can see that Bill behaves like his dad. The only one who doesn't see it is Bill. Why? Because he's playing those programs because his conscious mind was busy and not paying attention. And the result is that 95% of your life is actually doing that. And I go, why is it relevant? Well, let me give you a simple fact about science. Less than 1% of disease is connected to genetics. 90% or more of disease is how you are spending your consciousness, how your thoughts are affecting your life. You are controlling your life, and you are so powerful, except you don't know you've been running from the program, just like Bill. And here's the other fact about that story. We are all Bill. There's nobody in here that's not Bill. Every one of us got programmed. And you go, yeah, but man, I don't know what the program is. Why? Because you got programmed in the last trimester of pregnancy through the first 7 years. Now you say, oh, this is a new science. I go, in science it's new, but the Jesuits, as I mentioned, the Jesuits have known for 400 years. Give me that child until age 7, and I will show you the man. What did they know? They knew if I can program the first 7 years, you become the program. And that's a fact. And I go, well, wait, in the Matrix, there was a part where they had the red pill and the blue pill. And it said, if you take the blue pill, you go back into the program and it's just like every day life is back again. But what if you take the red pill? You get out of the program. I go, well, wait a minute. Have you taken the red pill? Most of you have taken the red pill, but you don't remember. So I'm going to tell you when you took it and how your life changed on a dime. And that is the first time you fell in love with somebody. The first time you went head over heels in love. I say, why was it relevant? I say, your life could suck every day, right up until the day you meet this one person. And you meet this one person, and guess what? 24 hours later, it's heaven on earth. My God, life is beautiful, food is beautiful, the music is better, I'm in love, love is great. And I go, wait, you mean your whole life sucked, and then 24 hours later, it's heaven on earth? And the answer is now we know why, because science has recognized the fact. When you fall in love, you stay mindful. That means you stay in your conscious mind. I say, well, what's the result of staying in your conscious mind? Within 24 hours, your life turns upside down, and 24 hours later, it's heaven on earth. I go, well, what the hell happened? The answer was this: you stop playing the program. The moment you stopped playing the program and you started using your conscious creative wishes and desires, what did you manifest? Wishes and desires. You made heaven on earth. You did this. Guess what? It was available every day. You didn't have to wait. The only reason you didn't have it every day is because you don't realize that 95% of the day you are operating from subconscious programs. And so the relevance, it becomes very clear. You can create heaven on earth. You've done it. And I go, yeah, but then how come it goes away? How come the honeymoon's a little bit short for a lot of people? And the answer is simply this: because you can have the honeymoon as long as you don't play the program. As long as you don't play the program, that means your conscious mind is running the show. But the moment life starts to come back in, look, I know you're in love, but you still got a job, you got chores, you got to fix the car, you got to pay the rent. I say, why is it relevant? There's a period where the honeymoon where you don't do a lot of thinking, you be present. But there's a point where you start thinking again. And the moment you start thinking, where do you think the behavior is coming from? Conscious, creative, wishes and desires mind? No, subconscious program. All of a sudden you start playing your dad's behavior, your mom's behavior, your community's behavior. And do you see it? No, but your partner sees it. And your partner looks at you and goes, who are you? What kind of behavior is that? And where does it come from? Well, you didn't even see you just did it. You're Bill. You just were thinking, and as a result, played your parents' program. You didn't see it. Your partner sees it. Your partner jumps on you, and you're going, what are you talking about? I'm the same person I've always been. I go, in your conscious mind, yes. But the first time you start playing subconscious programs, that's when all of a sudden the honeymoon starts to lose the glimmer and the glow. Because all of a sudden you start to realize that your partner may not have the best behavior sometime. And then you have to say, well, okay, sometimes Bruce is a jerk because he blows up like his dad. And then you go, if you're my partner, Margaret, you go, okay, well, sometimes I put up with that because he's like that. But that's only the first time that something came out. A little bit longer, more comes out and more comes out. And I say, why is it relevant? 70% of the programs that you got downloaded in that first 7 years are negative, disempowering, and self-sabotaging. And when you start playing those programs, you're the one that doesn't see it. So you go forth in the morning. Today's the day. I'm going to find love. I'm going to find health. I'm going to find the best job. Conscious mind, conscious creative wishes, desires, aspirations. I go, great. You go out in the morning, charged, and then what happens? You come home at 5 o'clock, bent over, tired, tail between your legs going, it didn't happen today. It didn't happen. And you go, well, the universe wasn't supporting me. I remember this morning I went forward looking for all great wishes and desires, and at the end of the day I didn't get it. So the universe, I am a victim. And that's the damn problem. We bought that we want to make these things, they don't work, and that we are weak victims. And I go, no. 95% of the day you weren't playing wishes and desires. 95% of the day you were playing those programs that you got downloaded. And as I said, since most of them are disempowering, what do you think the net result's going to be? So here's a simple truth. A, you got programmed. B, 70% or more of those programs are disempowering. I also want you to know how effective are the programs? Think about it this way. They looked at the fate of children adopted into families where there's cancer running in the family. And what did they find out? The adopted child will get the same family cancer at the same probability as any of the natural siblings. And yet the adopted child came from totally different genetics. What's the point? Less than 10% of cancer has anything to do with genetics. 90% of cancer has everything to do with lifestyle and your perceptions and how you're responding to the world and how you're responding to all the negative things that came in because you were playing negative behaviors and you didn't see it. You're the victim. I'm the victim. And the fact is, no. Not until you understand how powerful you are, because you can rewrite those programs. And then lastly, what I really need to say is, well, since you were programmed in the last trimester of pregnancy and the first 7 years, I say, so what program did you get when you were 7? Oh, okay, you can almost remember that. I go, yeah, what program did you get when you were 0? What program did you get when you were 1? What program did you get when you were still in utero? And the answer is this: I have no idea what the hell the programs are. Why? My conscious mind wasn't even kicked in yet. And so here's the point. Then you say, oh my God, I've been programmed. Most of these programs are disempowering, self-sabotaging. I have no idea what the hell the programs are. Okay, I'm going to make it simple. And here's how it goes. This is the simple understanding. You ready? 95% of your life comes from the program. Your life is a printout of your subconscious programs. You want to know what the programs are? Look at your life right now and recognize this. The things that you like and want, and they come into your life, they come into your life because you have a program that lets them into your life. But this is the one I want you to pay attention to. Anything you work hard at, anything you struggle over, anything you sweat over to make it happen. I'm working real hard and putting a lot of energy into making it happen. Why are you working so hard? The inevitable answer is that destination is not supported by the program. And that's why you're trying to override a built-in negative program. Life is not hard. Trying to override the program is hard. But once you understand that, you can rewrite the program. I go, well, rewriting the program, how can you do that? And here's where the problem comes from. Quickly, and here's where the problem comes from. We have held the belief that the conscious mind and the subconscious mind are connected. So if the conscious mind learns something, the subconscious mind should know it too. I go, absolutely false. The two minds have two different functions, and this is the critical part, they learn in different ways. I go, okay, conscious mind, that's connected to your identity, your uniqueness, your spirit. Conscious mind's creative. It's a creative mind. How does it learn? Creative mind can learn in any way. Listening to these words, going to a lecture, watching a video, reading a book. You know, how many self-help books did you read? And you learned all this stuff. And I said, yeah, but how many of them changed your life? And here's where the problem comes from. The conscious mind can learn in any number of ways. Just going, aha! Conscious mind learns something, okay? It's creative. Uh-oh. Subconscious mind is not the creative mind. The subconscious mind is the habit mind. I go, why is it relevant? The answer is this. Habits do not want to be changed easily. Thank God you learned how to walk before you were 2. You're still walking. Why? Because it's resistant to change. So does that mean you can't change a habit? I say, yes, you can, but you can only do it the way the subconscious mind learns. Asking your conscious mind to train your subconscious mind, that doesn't work. Your conscious mind doesn't talk to your subconscious mind in that way. So I say, well, you want to change your subconscious mind? There are 3 ways. You ready? 1, first 7 years, hypnosis. That's how you learn, theta. But every night when you go to bed, just when you're going to sleep, when your conscious mind's checking out, you're in theta. So guess what? Put earphones on as you're going to bed and play a program of what you want in your life. Just play that program. Why? Conscious mind checks out, you're sleeping, subconscious mind is downloading. For the next period after your conscious mind disconnects, subconscious mind is downloading. Anything comes into your ears. So you play a program that's self-hypnosis. Number 2, after age 7, how do you learn then? Answer, repetition. It's habit. How'd you learn to do anything? How'd you learn how to say ABCs? How many times did you say it before you could get to Z? How many times did you do the times table before you could memorize it? How many times did you learn in the car before you could drive the car? You practice, you practice. So this is where this phase comes in. The humorous aspect is this. Fake it till you make it. Keep telling yourself what you want as if you already have it. And you repeat this. Repetition is how habits are formed. Repetition. You have to repeat this process over and over and over again. That's how the subconscious mind learns. And lastly, there's a whole new field called energy psychology. And this is the most powerful thing that has come on this planet in the longest time. Why? You can change your beliefs in less than 10 minutes. A belief that's been sabotaging you your whole life, you can change it in less than 10 minutes in most cases. Why? Energy psychology enhances what is called superlearning. You can superlearn, download information straight into the subconscious in 10 minutes and walk away with a new belief system. The whole reason I'm telling you this is because the only reason you're not expressing your full power and your potential of who you really are, each one of you is a creator. You've created the honeymoon. That was beautiful. But what about regular life? And the answer is, the difference was you were operating from conscious mind, and regular life you operate from subconscious. So look at your life. And wherever you find struggle, recognize the struggle is not on the outside coming in. The struggle is on the inside preventing what you want from coming in. And when you understand this, you can express the most magnificent life on this planet. You can have a honeymoon every day of your life. Why? You created it in the first place. There's no reason why you can't have it forever. You just started thinking, unfortunately, and went back into the old game. You can heal any illness, virtually any illness on this planet, virtually any illness can be healed through consciousness. Your brain, your mind is writing your genes. Your genes are not writing you. You are writing your genes. It's called epigenetics. It's the new science. It's the revolution science. Why? You're not a victim of genes turning on and off. They don't even do that. You are the one that controls genes. Therefore, it's really incumbent to say, so what messages are you sending? Like the child that grew up in the family with cancer, what messages was that child sending? Messages to create cancer. Are you creating health and harmony and love in your life? And if you're not creating it, it's not because you can't. It's almost inevitably because you've been programmed and disempowered. And that's how they've taken us. You are so powerful, and yet we believe we're frail, vulnerable creatures, and we behave that way because we believe that. Change your belief. That's where the answers are. Every one of you is a supreme creator. If you don't like what you're creating, change the beliefs. The subconscious mind, not the conscious mind. Subconscious mind. You don't change that, you're not changing anything. So the idea is this. Every one of you is a powerful creator. Heaven on earth is a reality. And if we all started waking up and living that way, then the truth is, this is heaven. Why? This is where you came to create. If you don't like the creation, stop looking outside and start recognizing it was internal programming. We have all been programmed. That's a fact of science. If you don't like the program, you can change the program. Fact of science. And when you do that, a honeymoon, heaven on earth, is not a short term. A honeymoon, heaven on earth, is every day as long as you live on this planet. If you don't find it, stop looking outside, start looking inside. You have been programmed. And the best part is, if you know you've been programmed, you can rewrite the program. You can change your life. And you can create health, happiness, love, everything you were looking for. But you have to recognize it's an internal job, not coming from outside. And that's why I just needed to tell you this, because if you start living heaven on earth, then I start to experience heaven on earth as well. And everyone around you experiences heaven on earth. It is heaven on earth. You've done it before. You can do it every day of your life. And that's what we need to do. Let go of the system. The system has programmed you. They've known it for 400 years, and it's time for us to take it back. You are powerful creators, and I love you for that. I appreciate everything you do in your creation. Thank you so very much.